Hi, welcome to this episode. I can't say what number it is because I don't know what number this will be. This is a continuation of what we were talking about earlier in another episode, and it's really something that needs to be talked about. So here we are. Hi again, wearing the same thing.
Hi. Well, I mean, this could be posted like months later, so
Yeah,
no
it
one's gonna
doesn't
know
matter.
we're wearing the same thing.
All right, doesn't matter. This is the way we're doing things now.
Yeah.
This was we had to jump back in to record this because it's time that we discuss time management,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
as reassessment in life, which is
Yeah.
what we've been doing. Especially you. You have really been reassessing your whole
Yes.
thing.
My
All right.
my whole I don't even know what you call this.
You're having a midlife crisis, Sunny.
I guess, yeah. That's what's happening.
No, no. This is life. It's life
Yeah.
and balance,
Okay.
life balance.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And so I have never art has never been my full-time job. I've always had something else on the side. I'm also a graphic designer, even with that, I've also done other jobs. I've also been a substitute teacher. I worked at a front desk at an art gallery. I've always had other things going on, not
Income.
just
You mean
this.
income coming
Yes, for
in from
income. Yeah,
another?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But I'm always even when I had those, I was always reevaluating. Okay, is this working for me? Um, Sometimes and often I would decide, okay, no, I'm going to readjust and I'll focus more on this and try to earn more income this way. And last year, I decided to stop taking on self-publishing author um, books because I had signed with it, not last year, year before that, I had signed with an agent and I wanted to publish my own book. And so I focused more on earning an income through graphic design work. So I started doing more book design work and freelance that way. But then, um, and I also had clients outside of the agent who I was making money with through illustrating. Um, so anyways, yes, so I've always had freelance work that I was working on. Yeah, and so that and yeah, and I also, because I was doing book design work, I worked for a hybrid publisher and as a book designer and then also for consulting. So I've always had other things going on just besides just art. And of course, but I think one thing that just doesn't get discussed is that I know, but we've talked about multiple income streams before. We've
Yeah.
said how important that is because this industry is so unpredictable and freelance work in itself is so unpredictable. um but I've over the last year, actually kind of when I started feeling like I needed to leave my agent, I started to reevaluate everything. And I'm like,
Mhm.
my kids are getting older, they're graduating high school. I mean, I still have some, but like you start to reevaluate when you realize, okay, think what is important now? What is important for
Right.
me? What's important for my family? And before I was a mother, I worked full time. You know, that's what I did. And when I became a mother, uh, then I slowly quit working the amount that I worked before I had kids.
When you became a
And they
mother, you
became,
started working full time and a half,
yeah, they became my
but you
priority.
stopped working outside of the home, like
Yes. And
physically being outside of the home. Yeah.
yeah. And and especially with 4 kids, I focused more on taking care of the kids and then working whenever I could freelance. And so it's as they're older, then you reassess and evaluate, okay, what do we now we're at a place where I need to bring in more income. I want
Mhm.
to bring in more income. And I was evaluating the amount that books bring in, even as an illustrator, as an author illustrator, and in self-publishing and traditional, and it's not the amount that I'm comfortable with. that
Yeah.
I know that I would need to do something else also.
Ironically,
So
compared to the hours that you were working, because you were
yes,
working a lot more hours than a full time job. and not bringing
Yeah.
in what a full-time job outside of the home would bring you.
Yeah. There are some really famous authors and really famous author illustrators who can earn a really good living doing this. And I am not saying that it's impossible. But what I'm saying is I'm being realistic with myself. I know what level I'm at and I know what I'm capable of now. So I know I'm not at that level where I could just bring in loads of so I rather than sit here and grind my wheels trying to bring in freelance work that will, help feed us, or I mean that will contribute to our household, rather than like take any jobs that come along just so I can, earn more money. I don't want to be in that place.
Yeah.
And I tired of hustling. I'm tired of having to say yes to things that I don't want, because I want the money, or because maybe the money is good, but I don't enjoy the work. And so I'm tired of that. And so yeah, I kind of got to a place where I'm like cutting out all the things that I think are unnecessary right now. Like I want to cut back on
No, you clean house. I understand
I
what you're
did, yeah.
saying. You did.
And we have not, I have only discussed this with a few small people about what my plans are and how I want to proceed. And it's not, yeah, and I'm not gonna, because I don't want to pretend that we talk about real life here. I don't want to pretend that I'm doing, oh, I'm an illustrator and
You're
life is
rolling in
great
it.
and
Yeah.
I'm rolling in money. No, life
No,
is
we have
hard
been
and
honest.
being an illustrator is hard. Yeah.
We have said this
Yes.
is not the place where you're going to come to make a lot of money until
Yeah.
you're, famous. But and if
Yeah.
for the 1% that get there, this is a lot of labor of love and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
grinding that you have to do. But it all depends on the circumstances in your household and whether this is something
Yeah.
that you can do. And for a while, you've had to take jobs, like you said, that you weren't enjoying in
Yeah.
the graphic side of it.
Yes.
So it was actually taking up time away from the time that you could put into the work that you wanted to do.
Yeah. So I'd rather work a regular 9 to 5 job and then do art on my spare time and be able to draw the things that I want to draw and get my portfolio in a place where I'm happy with it, than sit here and take on just paying jobs just because they pay. And I know I've often said that money is a motivator for me, but that's wise because I need money. So
Yes.
I'm more motivated to do those projects if they pay. And that will not get me where I want to go. I know that. And so I feel like I need to stop that cycle in order for me to progress in the direction I want to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I I know, I don't know if a lot of, I do know some illustrators work full-time or part-time and illustrate, but I hear that more from authors than I do for illustrators, because I think because authors, it takes up so much less time, not so much less time, it still takes up a lot of time, but not like huge long months long projects. So it's, but I just don't think it's really talked about that much in our industry. Like I don't think it's discussed that, if you sometimes you have to make these choices. They're difficult, but it's not that you're giving up, it's that you're
Readjusting.
yeah.
Reevaluating and adjusting accordingly to what you need.
Yeah.
It also comes the other way. We have heard of authors, illustrators, artists that have a full-time job outside of the home that has nothing to do with
Mm-hmm.
illustration, that brings an income, a steady, reliable income, and they want to make
Yeah.
the full-time jump into art. It's a very weird jump to be able to do that, because you're going from something that is reliable income, that a paycheck is going to come on this day of the month or the week, into freelancing where it is a hustle. You have to, like you said, you're
Yes.
tired of the hustling
You
until,
have to sell yourself. I'm tired
yes,
of trying to sell myself. I'm tired of trying to negotiate contracts. Yeah.
for every
I'm
little
I'm
thing and that you were doing.
yeah.
Yeah. I
Tired, and I'm tired of paying my own tax.
so this is not to
Yeah.
say Sunny's quitting. She is reevaluating
No,
her life and making some changes. And we both cleaned house a few,
we
when I say
have.
clean
Yeah.
house, it means everything that we took on, and we are assessing what we want to participate on because life changes. Our careers change as well. Um, you have more kids. You're in a different. I am. My kids are graduating high school. I'm gonna be quote unquote an empty nester, and of course life always fluctuates up and down, and who knows what the future brings. But right now, this is where I'm seeing that I'm going to have more free time. So I'm taking on more artwork, and we have a different needs in our home. Um, but time wise, it became a thing of we had too much and not enough time. So
Mm,
we began last year. We quit our illustration critique group, our private illustration critique group, and it was like a
yeah.
group that served us well even before the pandemic. Like it
Yeah.
had it
And
had a
it was a really hard decision
it really
for both of
was. It really
us. It
was. We
wasn't
struggle with it behind the scenes. We struggle
Mhm.
with it for a long time. With this back and forth, we're like, oh my gosh, we cut so much
it,
of our family time to be there
right.
every week that we had to, and then we had to like work hard on Illo chat and on our own. And let me take off my glove. I just realized I had two fingers floating, which is weird. um we like every time we would discuss, we're like, are you finding it difficult to balance
Yeah.
your family life with this a specific meetup that we have to do a specific day to be in our group, and at some point you have to go, okay, something has to be heavier than the other and I have to make a decision. So we left the illustration group, even though there were friendships and they were that was a hard one. I have to say that was the
Yeah.
first hard decision that we had to make last year.
Yeah.
The book was coming
That
out.
was
There was a
last.
lot of marketing. There was a lot of Illo
And we
chat
had a lot
stuff.
of Illo chat interviews,
The
was taking
interviews
up more
started to come
time.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were getting requests for interviews, which were like not even advertising. And then all of a sudden we were getting that.
Yeah.
And it was a lot more communication because Illo chat was always you and I. And then it
Yeah.
grew and it grew. And now we had to be talking to publicists and talking to schedulers of for other artists to have to be here and make
Mm-hmm.
extra time. So that was our mutual first hard decision that we had to make in order to be able to continue where our careers were going. So that was the first
Yeah.
one. You then decided to also leave the writers critique group.
Our
That was
right. Yeah.
recent.
Our that we were both in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was actually, I think, so after I left the illustration critique group, then I started looking at, of course, then I just started coming to going through the process of, do I want to leave my agent? But when I asked myself that question, I also asked myself, do I want to focus on writing right now? Because if I'm um like I think it's just all about prioritizing time and figuring out what is important at this stage, like where I'm at, and where do I want to where do I want to dedicate my time to? If it's not benefiting me, well, for an art career, or if it's not benefiting me monetarily in the way I need it to, or if it's not giving me the things that I need, then I just started like going through everything. And the writing critique group, for me, I hadn't written in almost a year. I hadn't written anything, and I have written a little bit, and I have had ideas, but I haven't
Develop them into.
submitted. Yeah, I haven't developed them into anything that I could submit to the critique group. So I was just critiquing, and I wasn't giving anything to get critiqued.
Which is
So it
homework.
was kind Yeah, for me it was very one-sided. The people in it were lovely. I
Yeah.
had nothing. It kind of hurts to leave them, and same thing. Like, you don't want to say goodbye to these people because you still consider them friends, but you have to be honest with yourself. It's not going to be the same relationship once you're out of that critique group. You're not going to see them all the time. You're not going to be talking to them about things, these things. It is definitely going to change the relationship.
Yeah.
So that's hard to let go. So I let that go. And then I decided, because then I decided, I wanted to look for a full-time job, because the graphic design work, freelance book design, freelance illustration, all of my freelancing work, I am making more this year than I've made before, but it's not what I wanted. It's not where I need it to be.
Right.
And the amount of work I'm putting into it and the amount of money I'm getting from it is not the same. It's not, it's unequal, it's uneven,
Well, it's
so
very math oriented. Like with the jobs that you're looking for outside of the home, an hour equals this much.
Yeah.
And in this one, what you're having to do at this moment is many hours of work to equal the same amount that you could do in 1 hour on a steady job that has nothing to do with art, just in an industry or company or something like that. So it's completely defensible. I don't see a problem with that.
And when you're freelance, you're taking out your own taxes. Like, you have to pay your own taxes. So I'm paying fees for, and that's the other thing that's frustrating. Money is coming in, but I'm paying a percentage, taking out a percentage for taxes. I'm also taking out a percentage for fees for the platform that, I get paid on. I'm taking out fees for the platform I'm using to get the work. So I have increased my prices. I slowly over time I've increased them, but I got to a level where I found that when I went to that level, everyone was saying no.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that says, okay, no one wants to go past this, wants to go past this number. So I had to go back down. And it, a lot of people say, oh, you're in the wrong place, or you're looking for work in the wrong place. That's fine. But, like I said, I'm tired of hustling, and I'm tired of looking, and I'm tired of trying to bring in, an income. I feel like that even just that part, just the looking for jobs, should also be included in my rates.
Yeah.
Because that's time that's used, that's my time. And that
Right.
could be time I spend doing other things. So I'd rather have a steady income for the time I've worked, where I don't have to worry about, my taxes being taken out, and I don't have to worry about, I just know that, okay, every month I will receive this amount of money, or every 2 weeks I'll receive this amount of money. It just, to me, that seems like a relief, as opposed to the way I've had to work for the last 10 years. I mean, I've worked this way for 10 years.
I
So,
am gonna be in your boat in a few years. Well, I'm thinking about it next year or at the beginning, or because for different reasons. This is
oh yeah,
more
we're old.
United States. This
We're
is more
old.
United States
Yeah.
related, but Social Security,
Yeah.
you have
Yeah.
to get your 40 credits in order to qualify for Social Security, and we're still within that window.
Yeah.
Because I did the same thing as you when I used to work outside of the home before I have children. My husband was in the military, we moved. I was a home base. I was doing freelance on the side wherever I could. To be able to finish those credits, I need to go back to work outside of the home or somewhere where even, or like making enough income to qualify those credits. And it is so much easier to just go get a job out there, do the credits, finish them up, and qualify for your Social Security, because we are getting to that stage and age where we're thinking about the next chapter. And
Yeah.
where you
We're
are
getting
right
older.
now, yeah, where you are
Yeah.
right now, you're going through a hump, in your home, where you have you still have all your kids there, and it's just that squeeze
It's just,
where you need
yeah.
to
And
get
that,
your income.
Yeah, and when kids get older, they need more help with more expensive things, car
Yes.
insurance, school, like the
Yeah.
the price the costs get higher, and your income, if your income isn't can't cover that, then you have to find ways to do it. And also, we're at the age where our parents are getting older, and then
Yes.
we need to be, I want to be able to go, my family is not close, so if anything happens, it's always been on my mind that if anything happens, it would not be within our means for me to just take off and leave. Like, I mean, it would hurt us. So like, I want to be able to do that, and I want to be able to I'd love to be able to have help them out more. It's just frustrating being where I am right now. So that's why I reevaluated everything.
Yeah. This episode is very raw and honest, but we wanted to have this conversation about money for a while. We were going to call it the ugly M
Yeah.
because nobody wants to discuss money, but that is the part of this business. Yes, there's a section where you do this because you just love it. It's in your soul. You are a creative
Mhm.
person, you want to create. But then you have to balance it with also making a living out of this. And when you try to marry the both, sometimes it kills the spirit of creation because now you're trying to make it into money. So some people like to keep it as a hobby on the side, and a hobby with quotation marks on the side, because it feeds their soul. It's kind of like it is. This is very dependable on your household and your timeline, where you're at in your hump, or if you're,
Yeah.
timeline is never straight. That's for sure. There's
Yeah.
always dips. There is family situations, whatever it may be, health, work, whatever it may be. That sometimes your income needs change. And if you have to go back out there and find a different kind of job that is not art related, so you do that. You have to do it, whatever you have to do. And also reevaluate where you're putting your time versus your energy for the little bit that you're going to have left for creative work. That's
Hmm.
the reality of everybody's situation. I mean, we get sometimes some messages from, they say, how do you do it when you have kids? How do you do it when you have elderly parents? How do you do it when you have family? Where do you find the time? You might have a new baby coming in, you might be like, it's just never gets perfectly flat and steady. There's always going to be
Yeah,
something,
there's
and there's always
never
going to be
a
a
perfect
reason. No.
yeah, there's never a perfect time, and there are always going to be hurdles. There are
Yeah.
always going to be things that will get in the way, things that will slow you down.
Phone was barking, sorry.
Fine.
A leaf
He's
must have moved outside or something.
he's
It,
just trying to get on a podcast.
yeah, that's part of reevaluating life, and it's going to happen. It's
Yeah.
going to keep on happening. So hopefully she doesn't say goodbye to the podcast. We'll see. If not, it's going
I'm
to be
not.
Olga and a little candle by herself talking, no editing or whatsoever. But we will do what we can. But for now, so you're looking for work outside of the home,
Yeah,
and
a full-time job. Yeah.
you also quit the graphic design with
The
Herrera,
hybrid
the
publisher I
hybrid
was
publishers,
working
which
with.
was a
Yeah.
big decision for you as well.
I worked with them for 2 years, and I that was a big decision because it wasn't huge amounts of money, but it was steady. Like they kind of like steadily needed work. And part of the reason I started working in self-publishing, um, even though I knew I always wanted to work in traditional publishing too, one is for experience, of course, but two, I wanted to help make books that were, I want to increase the quality level
Quality,
in
yeah.
self-publishing. And that's always been my goal. So like, if I wherever I could touch and help make it better and help bring it a little closer to traditional, because traditional publishing, that's why there's gatekeepers, there's multiple art directors, editors, there's a whole team that's working on a book. So when you're just working in self-publishing with an author, the ability to get to the quality level of traditional publishing, it's challenging. It's not, you probably aren't. But I always felt like, well, with my experience with graphic design and then also with illustration, maybe there would, I could, those skills could be used to help, improve the field. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I
We're just
also,
starting. We're just starting in this journey. It's not like we're like all the experts here. It's
yeah.
just, it was
But there
clear that
is
you
a
could
there is
see.
a there
Yeah.
is money there is money to be had by with by providing services in self-publishing, for sure. So yeah, but then when I decided if I'm going to start a full-time job, then I definitely have to cut back on freelance work. If well, right now I'm of course honoring clients that I work with, that I already have contracts with. But yeah, I knew everything would have to end because I just won't have time. I know some people who do this stuff and also have a full-time job. They do freelance on the side, but I want to be able to draw on the side. That was the
That's
whole
one thing too.
purpose.
You had to take so many projects that you
Yeah,
weren't excited about and that were kind of killing your
my
enthusiasm for
vibe. Yeah,
this whole thing, just
yeah,
because you had to put money in the pot, right?
yes,
That the
yeah,
hope is that by getting another job that will be more steady income, that
yeah,
can fulfill that money pot need that every household has, that
yeah,
with your time that you would be at home, in the evenings or weekends or however your off your schedule would be, that you can actually just concentrate and draw and work on the projects that you are actually more passionate about and excited about.
yeah,
If
yeah,
it's a book
exactly.
dummy, if it is a book, a new portfolio, reinvent your whole portfolio, you're going to be more excited about doing so because it was constantly trying to find time. You were just as busy, or more busy,
More, yeah,
that you
yeah,
never had the time to work on your own stuff. So
yeah,
it's funny how we always see the jump from I work a full-time job and I'm gonna
yeah.
throw anything, aerospace engineering or whatever,
And I became a
or
yeah,
janitorial or whatever it is that you do outside of the home. And now I want to jump in to become a full-time artist. That's, you are going the other way. You're going like, I
yeah,
have been a freelancer, I have been a full-time artist. I need to go outside so that I can
yeah,
just concentrate on the stuff that I want to do.
yeah,
And that's totally legitimate. I mean, there is no reason why you cannot reevaluate and go left or right or whatever it is you need at that point. But it was a
yeah,
conversation that needed to be had, and it was a little
yeah.
scary because in 1 year there was a lot of quitting this, quitting that, quitting this, and I'm going, I'm just waiting for my note where she says I need to quit Illo chat and I need to quit, and I'm like, oh my lord, what is happening?
Yeah,
And
midlife crisis.
it really did feel like a midlife crisis. I'm like,
I'll be honest. We had the same two cars for years, like 15 years. We had the same two cars. They both died in the same year,
yeah, it was
and we had to
just
replace them. And it was during the pandemic when it was really difficult to find good deals, and like, or right after the pandemic, like 2 years, like a year ago.
yeah,
And when that happened, we took on two brand new car payments. Our insurance went up. And then a bunch of other things also happened, that added to our financial. But before that, we were doing okay. But
yeah.
I always felt a responsibility to bring in an income because I want to help. And I still have college loans. I still have this. I mean, I feel like these are my responsibilities to pay. So I don't feel like I don't want to,
But
burden
the
the,
household, you mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, but then when we had those two cars, when we got, of course, I love having two new cars, but you got to
It
pay
was a
for them.
year that it rained extra
Yeah.
hard on
Yeah.
top of it. And it's just and then the kids, like you said, the kids growing up and needing to be in the insurance.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah, all the kids
sometimes
have
it's
to be on the car
hard.
insurance now. All the kids
Yeah.
have their own phones. All the kids, like, they're older. They need these things.
But they're
Yeah,
not
it's so
yet
many.
in a working, bringing their own income to cover that stuff.
Yeah,
It is that. that window before they are
Yeah.
independent adults, and they
Yeah.
are,
Or you're
it's
helping
a
them
hard
become
one.
independent.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. Like that time when you're helping them, it's a weird.
It's a weird window to be in. I understand that. You go from like the diapers in the beginning of the, for parents.
Yeah.
This is for parents. The diaper era where it's like diapers and formula or whatever it is that all this stuff that little children need. Then there's this nice window where they go to school and
Yeah.
you have time at
You're
home and you're like, oh, wait a minute, I have
yeah.
some time, and you start working on your career and you're going, okay, now it's my time. And then it goes back to like, now you got to prepare these humans to go into the world, and again you feel that squeeze and that and then just life happens. I mean, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Perfectly legitimate. It's just, so
Yeah.
we wish you a lot of good luck
Thanks. I will be
finding.
back. I'm
You
not
better be back. I am not going to be sitting here, like I said, with a little tiny candle going, this is a little chat by myself here, talking to myself like
You
some.
could have Bongo. Bongo could be your co-host or Loki.
Yeah, no, we're not quitting Yellow Chat, and at least not that
No.
I know of yet. But there has been a
No,
lot of
I'm not
changes,
quitting.
and yeah,
Well,
so
I think by the reason I trimmed everything else off is because I was like, I want to focus on what's important. Illo chat is still important. My friendship with you is still important. I'm not gonna bail.
I'm crying here.
I know. But yeah, I'm like,
Well,
okay,
the
I have
difference
to.
is we have a friendship outside of this.
That's true.
Like we
Yeah.
talk about life on our regular
Yeah.
texting thing. So even if you
Yeah.
had to go and completely give up the whole thing, we will still be friends. But we're not. We're not.
Yeah.
We're not
No,
in
I'm not.
the
I'm
friendship
not going
thing.
anywhere. Just probably to a 9 to 5 job and then jump on here on my off hours.
This will
Which,
be your venting hour. What do you call it? Like a therapy hour.
yeah, yeah,
No, it's
yeah.
seriously, it is making
I think,
money as a freelancer is not easy, and it is
yeah.
depends very much on your household, how long you can do this for, how active you can be in it, what jobs you can take or not take. So
Mhm.
whenever you need to reevaluate your life, sideways, up, down, back, forward, I hope that we can take away that guilt and that pressure by talking about it and going like, hey, we all
Yeah,
have to do this once in a while and figure out what our next step is, because it's never
yeah.
perfectly planned. It's not like, oh, I take this and I'm going to be at this level next and I'm going to be at this level next. It doesn't always work like this.
No.
There is some winding that you have to do back and forth, because
And
there's so many aspects to life.
I think what it comes down to is stability.
Mhm.
Somebody said that, mentioned it, and I don't remember, but how they said they gave up, um, jobs that they think could have been more, satisfying or more, feed your soul, but then they, settled for stability
Yeah.
so they could do the things that feed their soul on the side. Because for us, yeah, for me, that's what I've been looking for. I just want some stability. I'm at a time in our lives where we need the stability, and then I can feed my soul, on my
No,
off
I
hours.
I do have to say, you were taking on so many jobs that
Yeah.
you really, okay, you it was, there were jobs that you couldn't even put in your portfolio. You took on
Yeah.
jobs that were not, you weren't finding it satisfactory or towards where you want to go creatively.
Yeah.
Then it left you no time to be creative and do your thing. So
Yeah.
I support you 100% wherever it is that you need to do,
Yeah.
and let me know
So
what we
if
can
you're
do
out
here.
there and you're going through something similar,
You're not
you're
alone.
not alone. You're not alone.
Welcome to the club.
And
Yeah.
you have to do, you have to do what's best for you and you at the current moment and your family. Like not um don't ever feel guilt or shame or
Or you're not
it's
going fast enough, or like
yeah.
there's times where you're taking care of your family and you're not progressing fast enough. there is no clock and there is no timeline. When you're dead, you're done. That's the end of the line. But you don't even
Yeah.
know when that's coming. So
Yeah.
take it day by day and year by year. And it's absolutely okay to reassess, what did I take on this year that was too much? What do I want to keep? What do I want to toss? And where do I need to head from here? um yeah, weird. It's a weird time. Like, it's exciting. I'm excited for the future because of how different this feels family wise.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
it's exciting. I want to see my kids out in the world and see what they do. You as well, that you have, it's an exciting time at the age that our families are at, that you're like, we're almost ready to see them out into the world and see what kind of people that they have become, and
Yeah.
kind of like
It's
the
like
fruit
letting a
of our labor.
butterfly go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a cocoon and then a butterfly. You're absolutely right. And it's scary. It's scary and it is exciting.
Yeah.
And then you have to reevaluate you. You're like, okay, I've been at this stage for this long.
Yeah. Who am I
Who
now?
am I? Right.
That's true. You've
Yeah.
been for probably 20 years, you've been mom, wife, or whatever. And then once they're
Caretaker or
grown, yeah. And then once they grow up, you're like, who am I now? Which is why you draw and write, because
uh
that's who you are now.
yeah. Well, I knew this was coming.
Yeah.
And my kids, I don't know if they're closer in age than yours are, spaced out, and I have two.
Oh yeah. Mine are all 2 years
So
apart.
mine are kind of like in a bundle at the same.
Yeah.
When we go through big life experiences, it's one right back to back. So when one
Yeah.
learned to drive, it the other one was right there learning
Yeah,
to
I
drive
know.
as
I can't
well.
believe
So it's every time something is a big event with us, it's like
Yeah.
it's almost all at once. And
They're
then
almost like twins because they're so close
they
in
are
age.
so very
So
close in age. Yeah. So that was one of the things I was foreseeing. I'm like, okay, well, I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with me, with my time. When do I start my
yeah.
career? So I decided to start my career, in 2018, when I
Mm-hmm.
was like foreseeing what my future might look like. Now, could it change? Of course it could change. Who knows? Who knows what tomorrow brings? So, and if it changes, I'll reevaluate where I'm at then. I stayed in the writing critique group that we were together
Mm-hmm.
in because I'm still writing,
Yeah,
but
that's
yeah,
good. That's a good idea.
but I am never, and that's the thing, and I don't want to say you're a little bit shy sometimes, and these big decisions are a little bit difficult for you, and I'm kind of more like, whatever, like,
Yeah.
it needs to be done, we need to do it, like, rip the band-aid.
Yeah,
And it's not that I
true.
don't care, it's like, hey,
Yeah.
you do what you have to do, and that's it. So yeah, if I ever have to reevaluate because I might be coaching, or I might be, taking on a project, or there might be more things coming, I won't hesitate to just make the changes that we need
Yeah.
to make. So yeah, I support you 1,000%, and
Thanks.
I hope that you get something quick.
Yeah. I'm working on
And then I'm gonna be like, have we drawn today? Can we meet? uh it's just weird. It's a weird time. I have to say, it's a weird time.
It
This is
is.
a weird
Yeah.
episode, but it does feel like we're saying goodbye. We're not saying goodbye. This
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
everything is still going. It's
Yeah.
just goodbye to a few things in your creative freelance section of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But hopefully this will evaluate and give you more time to do the big things you want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right then. This was a short one. See, 44 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
We
good.
have an
Short and sweet.
episode. All right.
All
Best of
right.
luck to everybody doing their reevaluations.
Yeah. Time to reevaluate.
Bye bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening. Bye.